Hi, in this tutorial I will be teaching you the basics of inputting and outputting information through the command prompt window using Dev C++. To start off, you need to open a new source file, which I already have done. I saved it now. You can save it later when you compile and run. It doesn't make any difference. It's just a basic saving window. So then what you need here is you need to start off with headers, which basically is telling the computer what libraries that it can use so that it knows what different commands are available for it. So these are the basic ones that I'm going to have you work with for now. Later on we can get into more advanced headers, but for now this will suit us. The next part we need is our body of the paragraph, or body of the program, which is int main, which looks like this. Basically we're just telling the computer this is our main function, we're going to work off this to start with. So it compiles it and then runs it starting with the information in here. So what we need to do is display something. For example, hello world, like most beginner programs. The command for outputting something using the IO stream is cout, and then two less than symbols, and then in quotes whatever information you want. So that will work perfectly fine. And then at the end of just about every line you need to have a semicolon like we have up here. However, this one and this one don't need it because of whatever reason, but for the most part, most basic lines of code will need a semicolon, which is just something you need to remember. This will then compile and run. However, when it runs, it will only show up for a brief second, like that, because it doesn't have anything telling it to stay. It displayed it, and then it continued running through the rest of its code, and it reached the end, so it stopped, because there's nothing telling it to continue. So what we want to do is get input from the computer. So we can have cin, and then two greater than symbols, and then we need a variable name, which we're just going to call right now var. I will get into a bit more into the different types of variables and more information on that in a later video, but for now you need to define it above before you can use it. So we will call this int for integer. We're going to define this as an integer variable, and then define its name as var, and then end the line with a semicolon. So this will run, compile, and now it's prompting for a number of some sort. So we're going to enter 5. I didn't have it do anything, so it's going to be perfectly fine like that. If you noticed, when it ran up here, it's prompting you on the same line. Sometimes that gets annoying, so what you want is to basically have an enter put in. The character for that is a \n right here. This is basically a end of line new feed character, which basically, like I said, is the equivalent of pressing enter. So now when we compile and run this, it will be prompting us on the next line, so it doesn't get all confused with the previous line of text that was written. It's just something to make it look a little better. And then we can also output something, such as the variable that we entered, which we can say var, which is what we entered, and then it will tell us back what we just put in. It's kind of pointless, but enter 5, and it enters 5 if you watch quickly. Again, it didn't have anything telling it to wait, so just to have it wait again, I will have cin var just to make it wait. We got 5. Oh, we entered 5. That's good to know. One thing that we might want is to have the computer tell us why it's outputting something, so we can have in text you entered, and then colon, and then end that, and then we want the variable name, or the variable's value, and we can just separate that by doing another 2 less than symbols, or else you can hit enter and then type in cout. Again, you'd have to have a semicolon here, so this is probably the simplest way of doing it. So if we run this, we enter 5 again, it tells us that I entered 5. Rather pointless, but it's not a big deal. And that is basically how to input and output things on the command prompt window using C++. Thank you for watching.